And I think it's key to maybe not why, but it is a piece of evidence, I think, and a significant one as to why Team USA doesn't do more at the World Cup. And it is because whenever our World Cup run ends, we look at each other and go, that was a bummer.
Yeah.
Now, other countries
what do you
cry.
want for lunch?
Yeah. Other countries cry. Sometimes they attack their players when they get home. I'm not saying that that's what I want here by any stretch.
Shout out Colombia.
But that's how we react. Although I think we would love to continue. There's been a lot of wonderful stuff, wonderful calls throughout the day on 95.7 The Game, and we can keep it coming on how you reacted. 888-957-9570, because I really think that this is key to the entire story that's being told. Team USA was supposed to be different this year.
Right.
And I thought that in some ways they were, but their exit was very familiar.
It was more than familiar, and I can't help but think about to the moment that everyone likes to rip Chris Wondolowski for, Wando, when they played Belgium before, and that was 12 years ago. They played Belgium, and they didn't lose 4-1. They went to extra time and lost 2-1. And so, for me, this ouster is especially jarring because of, you go back to 2014 where, you were not up to the task against Belgium, but your goalie was amazing, and you had a chance to maybe win late, and you didn't, but you were so close to the quarterfinals. And then you go back to yesterday, and from the opening kick, it was, they're faster, they're more aggressive, they're winning every second ball, and Christian Pulisic is not totally sharp, and Balogun, he got cleared, but he never gets to actually kick the ball, and the defense was an unmitigated mess. And so, for me, what is so jarring is you look at yesterday's result, and you were not as good against Belgium as you were 12 years ago, and you were supposed to be better right now.
Yeah.
And you just weren't.
No, they looked out of sync from the beginning, and I'm not going to act like enough of an expert to tell you why. I have no idea. I thought for sure, because I've watched both of these teams in the last 3 weeks, and I'm like, we're faster. Team USA is the faster team. Then they went out there, and they were not the faster team.
Yeah.
I actually don't think they got necessarily outrun as much as they just looked totally out of sync. And it was just not buttoned up, and they couldn't get a flow. And then they finally started to get a little flow. Pochettino makes a change there at half. They came out. They were the more aggressive team. There was sort of a feeling for a moment that they were going to get the equalizer,
right.
Their second equalizer of the game. They were going to get it because they were the more aggressive team, and then they made just the biggest whoopsie daisy I've seen any team do in this entire tournament, and you're done. You're dust. Belgium just gets to play defense the rest of the way, and the whole thing is just you feel like you got snookered. And that's what's bumming me out.
No
I don't care that we lost. I shouldn't say I don't care. I'm not surprised that we lost. But I think that that's what's hard for the American soccer fan today is you feel like you got duped because we bought in. Zlatan is like, they can do it. And then they're not going to do it. They're not going to win the World Cup.
No, but they could beat Belgium.
They could beat Belgium. He said they could win the World Cup.
Okay. I mean, they're allowed to use your famous phrase. So you find a way to struggle by Belgium, whatever, and then you take on Spain, which is a team that, I don't know, they just don't ever give up a goal.
Right.
So good luck with that. And then the road from there is not easier. It only gets harder. But I just thought you could beat Belgium, and then the way they came out, and credit Belgium for the roster changes because they kind of thought what you just said, like, the U.S. is probably faster than us. I have an idea. Let's take out Kevin De Bruyne, who's very skilled but slower, didn't play a minute. He's an absolute legend, and you didn't play Romelu Lukaku until in the second half. You played a younger, faster group, and so you came out, and the U.S., I think, was caught off guard at how young and fast Belgium was.
That's kind of their thing, though, right? I think Lukaku has been playing off of the bench for most of this tournament.
Yes,
that's
but not
kind of their
Kevin De Bruyne.
No,
he's been their number one mainstay, but they took him out in place of younger, faster, and every time that Thibaut Courtois, their goalie, would kick the ball down the field, they were there first. And then a contested header, they were there second. The U.S. could not win possession in their own end.
You believe in karma?
Nah, not really.
Yeah.
I really don't.
I don't know what to think about karma. I do think that, some people are working with, I don't know, you want to call it the universe, and some people aren't. In other words, I do think that just life sort of gives you messages and clues and hints, and you can kind of feel like when you're in the flow, right? When you're taking those messages, when you're not just going head down and ignoring those things. So I don't know if that counts as karma or whatever, but it just feels like a conversation today because Team USA was a feel-good story. The entire group stage, they were a feel-good story in their knockout round victory over Bosnia. And then something happened 24 hours before this match and made the whole thing feel dirty. Whether it was or not, it's like this isn't even an opinion about that. It's just it's an opinion about it lost its feel. And I'm not saying that that's what made them not play well at all. But I just think there's a conversation there because this was such a fun run and story. And then in the blink of an eye, it wasn't.
But I believe if Balogun does not get his red card overturned, they still lose 4-1.
I agree.
And for me, it's not about karma. It's about motivation. Shout out Kelly Rowland. So if you're Brazil and you see this play out and you're thinking, no way, the host nation in an almost unprecedented move is going to get their guy back. Oh, forget that. We're Belgium. Now we're going to be an extra level of we're going to make sure we get after them and him. I think it's more motivation than karma.
Can I ask a question about that, though? Because sometimes I think it's fascinating when we get to the end of championship rounds in sports and people bring up motivation. The World Cup, it doesn't matter who you are or what city you're in, the arena is filled with crying humans. Crying humans. Messi, this morning, was crying because he felt that he was 15 minutes away from the end of his World Cup career, and then Argentina put on one of the most beautiful clinics that you will ever see in the sport of soccer, and his run continues at age 39, and there are tears flowing everywhere. Are we really going to say that somehow Donald Trump and Flo Balogun and red cards and FIFA motivated Belgium? Could these teams and these nations be more motivated than they already are?
Maybe it's not motivation. Maybe it's like adrenaline, or maybe it's that extra shot of energy because, yes, the whole thing happens with Balogun and, Trump immediately takes credit. And so Belgium's already feeling slighted, and you're on the road against the U.S. in Seattle. Yep. So you're going to be in a hostile environment. I do think that when you look at all of the different pieces, Belgium looks at this matchup and says, we're better than the U.S., and yet we're going to be underdogs. That might be a little nudge. And then the Balogun thing happens. That's a nudge, and you're on the road, and that's a nudge. And I'm not saying that because of those three things, that's why Belgium won. I do believe that when you get into that spot, there's a certain amount of adrenaline that goes along with, kind of feeling that way. And it can be contrived. It can be real. But as a manager and as a coach, that's something that you're always trying to harbor in your team.
Right. So, these are the questions, and I think these are all on the table for you at 888-957-9570. A, why are we not better? B, why did we lose? C, how do you look at this World Cup run? This is always one of those things that I struggle with in sports. Prior to a championship run, Golden State Warriors a year ago, I think a lot of people would have gone, hey, if they could get into the playoffs and win a round, then that's a success. Remember, you did the over-under on playoff victories.
4.5 wins.
4.5. And they did it. They hit the over. 5 playoff wins. They win a round. They have a game 7 on the road. They beat the Rockets. Then they win a game, and all of a sudden you're thinking to yourself, ooh, maybe we're going to round 3. And then Steph Curry gets hurt, you never win another game. And you feel kind of robbed. But if I had gone back to before the playoffs and asked you, would you take it? Would you take it if you get around and you get a road game in round 2 and then you bow out? Would you take it? I think a lot of people would have said, that's not bad. That's achieving what we think you should achieve. And so is it great? No, it's not great, but it's not bad. And I think that's how people would have assessed this World Cup before it started. Get out of the group and win a knockout round.
Yeah, that's what we said.
That's what we said, and that's what they did. But the way this all went down over the last 48 hours sort of gets the emotions flowing in a very negative way, even though they essentially did what we hoped that they would do.
They did, and we talked about this yesterday before the match, like the worst case scenario would be you get absolutely blown out and you look like amateur hour, and they were sloppy. They were completely unmarking the Belgian offensive players. They looked like they had no business even being there, and it was at home. So that taste in the mouth will eventually go away. And I'm thinking about that same 2014 where you bowed out in the same spot and Belgium beat you 2-1. Tim Howard had 15 saves, the most ever. And so coming out of that, you felt like, yeah, we hung with Belgium. And then yesterday it was, oh my God, we hung ourselves in front of Belgium.
That's what I'm saying. I honestly think if we had lost this match yesterday 2-1, some sort of a heartbreaker, a stoppage time goal, and Belgium wins 2-1, I think today the American soccer fan is going, hey, this is real progress. What a sign of things to come. And instead, the conversation we're having is the same damn conversation we have after every World Cup. And it's line everybody up and talk about why we're not as good as the rest of the world. And we can have that conversation.